Welcome to a journey back to 1963. For over a decade, the Porsche 356 had defined the brand, but the automotive world was evolving rapidly. Porsche needed a successor that was faster, larger, and more refined. At the Frankfurt Motor Show that year, the world caught its first glimpse of the 901. It was a radical departure, yet strangely familiar. It maintained the rear engine layout, but introduced a sophisticated new chassis and a revolutionary six-cylinder engine. This wasn't just a new car. It was the birth of an icon that would dominate racetracks and driveways for the next 60 years. Today, we delve into the first decade of the 911, exploring the engineering brilliance and the design purity of the original long hood era.
You might wonder why we call it the 911 if it debuted as the 901. The answer lies in a legal dispute with Peugeot. The French manufacturer claimed exclusive rights to three-digit car names with a zero in the middle for the French market. Rather than market the car under two different names, Porsche simply swapped the O for a 1. Before the change was finalized, however, 82 units of the 901 had already been produced. Today, these pre-911 901s are some of the most coveted collector items in the world. This transition marked a pivotal moment, forcing a branding shift that unintentionally created the most famous numerical sequence in automotive history, 911.
At the core of the first-generation 911 was a masterpiece of engineering, the 1991cc air-cooled flat-six engine. Designed by Hans Mezger, this engine was a quantum leap over the 356's four-cylinder unit. It utilized overhead camshafts and dry sump lubrication, features usually reserved for racing cars. In its initial form, it produced 130 horsepower at 6,100 RPM, breathing through a pair of triple-choke Solex carburetors. The sound was unmistakable, a metallic mechanical symphony that would become the 911's signature. This engine wasn't just about power, it was built for endurance, establishing Porsche's reputation for reliability even when pushed to the absolute limit on the Autobahn or the track.
The design of the 911 was the work of Ferdinand Alexander Butzi Porsche, the grandson of the company founder. His philosophy was, design must be functional. The 911 silhouette, the continuous curve from the roofline to the rear bumper, is known as the fly line. It remains virtually unchanged in concept to this day. The early short wheelbase cars featured delicate chrome trim, thin pillars, and the iconic 5-gauge instrument cluster, with the tachometer placed front and center, signaling the car's performance intent. It was a 2+2 Grand Tourer that offered visibility and practicality that no other sports car of the era could match. This was the perfect marriage of form and function.
The first few years of production saw rapid refinement. Early 911s, now referred to as SWB or short wheelbase cars, were known for their lively handling. With a 2,211mm wheelbase, the cars were incredibly agile, but could be challenging at the limit due to the rear heavy bias. Performance was impressive for the mid-60s, with a 0 to 60 mph time of roughly 8.3 seconds and a top speed of 131 miles per hour. In 1967, Porsche introduced the 911S Super, which bumped power to 160 horsepower thanks to Weber carburetors and improved metallurgy. This era also saw the introduction of the Fuchs alloy wheels, which would become the most recognizable wheel design in automotive history. By the late 1960s, Porsche expanded the 911 lineup to cater to different drivers. The T, Touring, became the entry-level model, initially offering 110 horsepower with a simpler 4-speed transmission. The E, Einspritzung, sat in the middle, featuring Bosch mechanical fuel injection for smoother power delivery and 140 horsepower. The S remained the performance flagship, pushing boundaries with 160 horsepower and later 190 horsepower as displacements grew. This tiered approach allowed Porsche to dominate the market, offering everything from a daily driver to a weekend track weapon. In 1969, a major mechanical change arrived. The wheelbase was lengthened by 57mm to improve stability, marking the end of the SWB era. In the mid-60s, rumors circulated that the US, Porsche's biggest market, might ban traditional convertibles due to safety concerns. Porsche's ingenious solution was the Targa, named after the Targa Florio race where they had seen immense success.
Debuting in 1967, it featured a distinctive brushed stainless steel roll bar, a removable roof panel, and a fold-down plastic rear window, later replaced by fixed glass. It offered the thrill of a cabriolet with the structural rigidity and safety of a coupe. The Targa became a style icon in its own right, and the Targa bar remains one of the most recognizable design elements in the Porsche catalog, proving that safety regulations could actually drive beautiful design.
As the 1970s dawned, Porsche sought more torque and drivability. For the 1970-1971 model years, the engine was bored out to 2.2 liters. Power across the range increased, with the 911S now producing a potent 180 horsepower. Not satisfied, Porsche increased displacement again for 1972 and 1973 to 2.4 liters, actually 2,341 cc. These 2.4 cars are often considered the pinnacle of the original 911 design. One unique quirk of the 1972 model was the oil clappa, an external oil filler door located on the rear right wing. However, it was discontinued after 1 year because too many gas station attendants mistakenly filled it with gasoline instead of oil.
The first generation reached its absolute zenith in 1973 with the Carrera RS 2.7. Built as a homologation special for Group 4 racing, it was lighter, wider, and faster than any 911 before it. It featured a 2.7-liter engine producing 210 horsepower and utilized thinner steel and glass to save weight, tipping the scales at just 975 kilograms in lightweight trim. Most famously, it introduced the ducktail rear spoiler, the first of its kind on a production car, to reduce rear-end lift. Only 1,580 were built, and they remain the most sought-after non-racing 911s in existence. The Carrera RS 2.7 didn't just win races, it defined the RS philosophy of street-legal performance that continues today. By the end of 1973, over 81,000 first-generation 911s had been produced. Strict new crash safety standards in the US led to the introduction of the impact bumper G-Series in 1974, bringing the era of the slender, long-hood 911 to a close. But the foundation was set. The first-gen 911 established the blueprint, a rear-engine, air-cooled, driver-focused machine that could be raced on Sunday and driven to work on Monday. Today, these cars are more than just collectibles. They are the DNA of every modern Porsche. Whether it's the shape of the window or the sound of the engine, every new 911 still carries a piece of the original 1964 spirit within it.